Welcome back to Wiseman Company, everybody. I'm Ben, and we have Noah and Drew, Rex, and Ryan. Tonight's episode is going to be on go-to rifles. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Doing well.
All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about go-to rifles, and that could be any rifle that you pick up first in any emergency situation, go to the range, you name it, any type of situation. It's your favorite rifle. We're talking about how they're laid out, what you put on them, what you don't want to put on them, and some of the other details like that. So let's get started. Noah, do you want to start with questions that were asked, or should we just go into my questions?
Why don't we start with your questions, Ben?
Okay. All right. This question is going to be to the entire party. We'll go right down the line, starting with you, Rex. What does the term go-to rifle mean to you? So go ahead.
All right. For me, go-to rifle is the rifle that you're gonna use primarily. So for me, the way I think about rifles is I think about my list of priorities for using a firearm, and so where those priorities start for the rifle category, it's a survival weapon, but obviously shooting for fun is all my guns. You know, that's number one. But as far as priorities go, for me, it's a survival kind of weapon. And then after that, a self-defense, liberty kind of deal. So.
Sure. Okay. Very cool. Drew?
Mine is definitely a self-defense / coyote hunting rifle. Living way out in the country, you know, anything were to go bump in the night, this is the thing I pick up. That's what go means for me.
Lift it up real quick?
Yeah. I got a few just laying around. So this is the one actually. This is the actual go-to.
Very cool.
Yeah. We can talk about it later if you want.
Yeah. So yours is primarily self-defense. You're way, for the viewers out there, Drew lives way out in the boondocks. So I'm sure you have a lot of wild animals around there, things like that.
Yes.
And that would be the first thing you pick up, correct?
Pretty much, yep, for a small game, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Noah, I'd kind of like you to jump in on this one. I know you're producing back there, but do you get your go-to rifle around or anything like that?
I do. Let's see here. This is my Daniel Defense. This is a V7 carbine. Love this thing. It has been just a phenomenal rifle. For those of you, so you can see that. Sorry, I didn't switch over. So here it is, Daniel Defense. Got the IC 13 IC AR-15 lock in there to make sure it's safe here. I don't shoot anybody. And so yeah, this is my go-to.
And what does that mean to you? You're pretty good at this kind of stuff. What does go-to mean to you?
This is the rifle that I actually have this, and then I have a pistol build that's almost identical to this. It uses the same rail, the same barrel. It's just their short barrel instead, and it's a pistol build. And either that rifle or this rifle are, you know, next to my bed. And if something does go bad, this is the rifle that I'm grabbing. It's the rifle. One of those goes with me in the vehicle almost all the time. These are the rifles that I shoot. I joke around with Ben that it's my Mosin or my M1 carbine, but or one of my 22s.
Because he's that old, ladies and gentlemen. He's that old.
That's right. I brought that Mosin home from World War I, and it's been a solid rifle for me.
What side were you on?
His own side. He was on his own side.
I was actually that guy that they talk about in Finland that, you know, killed 900 people. So killed all those Russians. You know, I'm the Mosin.
As a child.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So Ryan, you're up. What does go-to rifle mean to you?
I mean, for me, it means a lot of things depending on the situation you're in. Kind of like what Kane was saying. I have a go-to rifle for almost all kinds of hunting, all kinds of protection. But I would think my go-to would be the one I shoot the most.
And which one's that? Lift that one up. Very cool.
Rock River.
Don't think I forgot about that FAL either. That's going to make an appearance tonight. So
okay.
Make sure that stays over there.
My buddy actually got this one built. It's a Rock River in 5.56, but you know, it's basically stock. I shoot everything stock until I get fancy like you guys. But I would like to kind of kit it up. But normally this is the one I keep. I have a dual PMag, so they're both loaded, and I kind of have it as my bug out gun. So that would be my go-to for now.
Awesome. All right, next question is going to be for Mr. Drew, Mr. Drew Hopkins, and we're going to go with, what is, as I was looking at the picture of your rifle, what is the base of your rifle? How did it start its life? Obviously, you've changed it a lot, yeah?
Yes. It actually started.
That a little bit.
Okay, so this started as a Smith & Wesson M&P Sport.
Okay.
So it's one of the most affordable ARs you can get. Very low key, very basic, which was good for me. I got it as a gift, and I knew nothing about ARs. I knew they were awesome, and I wanted one. So this is the gun that I learned everything that I know about ARs on, which is not a whole lot.
But you got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly. So it started stock. I kept it stock for a long time. I slowly upgraded it. It's been through probably 3 or 4 total transformations to arrive where it is now. Which I can totally post up some pictures on my Instagram of what it used to look like.
Yeah, definitely.
So some of the first few things I replaced were the stock and the grip. I went with Magpul stuff for my first kind of version of this rifle, which was good because they make good gear and it's cheap, and you know, when you're just starting out messing around with ARs, they're good products to go to.
Yeah.
Even if you've been around for a long time. I've kept the grip, still love it. Just recently changed to this stock, which I actually don't even remember who makes this.
It's the Mission First Tactical. That is their Battle Link stock. I have one, and they're amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I wanted to eventually get to a really or a somewhat lightweight build, which is what this is essentially, without being an SBR. But yeah, so that's one of the last things I upgraded was actually this free float rail system, which was really inexpensive as well. It's a UTG Super Slim.
Yeah, I haven't had much experience with those. I heard they're very affordable. How long have you had it on there?
I've had this on there for probably about a year. Actually, yeah, almost exactly a year.
Any issues?
No issues at all, and I shoot this thing quite a bit. I've shot a lot of rifles. Like I've shot some really, really nice ones, really expensive ARs. That are still totally out of my price range. And I don't want to drop that kind of dime without fully understanding my weapon. And so this was a good option for me. Yeah. And I absolutely love it. This is not in key mod. This is still Picatinny, and you can attach Picatinny rails for it. So it's pretty awesome. So yeah,
very cool.
Went through a few different optics. I was an EOTech guy for a really long time. Had the EXPS 2-0 for a long time with actually a magnifier, and that was a really heavy build.
Yeah, so where'd that stuff go?
I gave it to friends. I gave the magnifier to a buddy, but whenever, man, I kind of feel bad dogging the EOTech. I love the EOTech, and if they ever decide to fix their product, I will buy another one in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I have one as well, and I had the same one, the EXSP or -2 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Man, I love the big field of view on it. It was great, but after that last recall, it's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, I couldn't. Tough. I had to send it back. So I picked up this cheap. This is actually a really cheap Holosun, which I read amazing reviews about.
Yeah.
I read amazing reviews about. It's cheap. It's affordable. I was like, man, if nothing else, I'll buy it. I'll test it out on this AR, and I absolutely love it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Good option.
I don't want to go on and on, but this is what I run. So yeah.
Very cool. For all of you out there, the M&P Sport is probably the best-selling AR-15 right now. Smith & Wesson moves a ton of them because, like Drew said, if you just want to get into it, it is a great rifle to get on the ground floor. I mean, they work, they run. They're not really that fancy, but as you can see, you can make them fancy. You can upgrade them very easily. So that's a great choice, I think, to get on.
It shoots good.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Next question, Rex. let's see the blaster.
All right. It's a It's a Savage A17, 17 HMR. It's the semi-auto, which I'm not really aware of any others that actually work that are on the market.
That thing is filthy. I love it.
I like
Yeah. So okay. So your rifle's very different from everyone else's here thus far. What made you get that gun? Why do you have it?
Well, like I have very specific point of uses for my guns, and I have two lists that kind of go on, and the first one is why would I use a weapon, and that's just to have fun, right? Like that's why we all shoot, because we enjoy it.
Right.
But then the second one is also where my list of priorities start, and that's EDC, self-defense, and then it's a hunting survival kind of scenario, right? Like, because where I live, it's rural. I'm sure Drew gets this. Like, power outages for days, possibly weeks, are normal. When you live out in the rural country, and I haven't got to this point yet, but a survival scenario is not out of the question. Where maybe you weren't prepared for whatever reason, and you have to provide for yourself. And so for me, that's why I got this. It's a small game gun. You can take rabbits with it. You can take squirrels with it. If you close enough, you can take coyotes with it. I mean, it's the 17 HMR is a mean little round. So
yeah, it is fast. It is a fast round for sure. It's flat shooting. Yeah. So you guys, that's a great reason, in my opinion. I knew that was going to be a little bit different than everyone else's, obviously. And I'm glad you brought it to the table because everyone, typically thinks AR-15, AK-47, something like that. But those type of guns definitely have a purpose.
Mosin. Everybody thinks Mosin.
Well, like when I think about it, like if I lived within 10, 15 miles of a major metro, like all the studies that I've read have shown that if you live within that kind of bubble, and people have to evacuate that city in a hurry for whatever reason, they usually get about 10, 15 miles on the interstates before they just have to abandon their cars, and then
that's true.
All the areas around it are raided. So,
right.
If I lived in that kind of area, I probably would have gotten whatever we're calling it, a combat assault, a battle rifle. I probably would have got that first instead, because that would have been more likely. But for where I live and my purposes, a survival scenario is a little bit more likely.
Very cool. Yeah, I know when Noah was young, he had power outages all the time because electricity was just invented. All right, let's move on. Okay, next one is for Ryan. I think this is a good question. Next upgrade for that rifle. If you had to pick something, what's it going to be? What do you think it'll be?
Probably a sight, because the iron sights on mine are garbage, and I can't shoot it very proficiently. So when I am out there shooting, it's really just for fun at this point. But I would like it to actually be a rifle that I'm comfortable reaching out and touching with. So that would probably be my first thing. And then I would like to get a pistol grip for the foregrip.
Okay.
The way I shoot.
Have you looked at any sights yet? Have you thought of anything that you're like, oh, I really like that, or I don't want this, or?
My buddy has an EOTech, and he runs the same rifle, and he runs the EOTech with hologram or holographic or whatever you want to call it. And I really liked it when I shot it because you can shoot it with two eyes open, you know. But I was actually, when Drew was talking about his, I was actually going to hit him up after this, and because I would just like something, because I'm not a crazy money guy when it comes to stuff that sits around a lot, because I shoot pistols primarily. But I would like to have something, like I said, that I know if I aim at a certain point within 100, 200 yards or less, that's where the bullet's going to go. That's what I want.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Let's move on.
Can I just jump in there real quick?
Oh, of course.
I can't recommend enough the Vortex optics.
Oh yeah, it's true.
That's what's on both of my my pistol build, and on this one, this is a strike fire, and this is a red or green dot. I was shooting, I don't know, Ben said it was 300, but it was probably closer to, because was it 400 from the building? 400
400 was building, so you were right between 300 and 400 yards.
Yeah, and we were hitting steel with just a green dot. So.
And is it magnified, or is that just?
No, that's a 1x, and I was still hitting.
So where were you holding on the target, Noah? You were holding.
I was holding right on the head actually at 300 yards with a 50-yard zero, and we were hitting. Now the strike fire does come with a
2x magnifier.
2x magnifier, right?
Yeah.
That you can put on it. So you can put a 2x magnifier on it, and then on my pistol I actually have the little spark. The Spark or Spark 2, I forget which one it is, but again, I can't tell you enough good stuff about him. The price point is great on him. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. But the warranty on him is phenomenal. That Spark I actually bought used and had some strip screws. And even buying used, I went and contacted them and said, hey, I just need this base, and was wondering how much it was, and they're like, don't worry about it, it's covered by the warranty, we'll send you a new one. So,
no questions asked. Even if you stick your optic in a blender, they'll still replace it.
That's awesome.
What is Noah's called? It's the Vortex Optic, but what one?
Strike fire.
The strike fire is the one that one that you just saw, and the Spark is a little bit smaller one. So, but I really like that strike fire. I really like the green dot. My old man eyes pick up that green a lot faster than the red. So
you'd get one on your Mosin?
Yes, oh, absolutely. You bet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Guys, Vortex Optics, the warranty, no matter what you do to that optic, they're going to replace it because they believe in their product. They love it. Best customer service, too. Every time I've dealt with them, it was always, yes, sir, yep, we'll handle that, we'll take care of it, and it was speedy everything. They took care of it quickly. They just make great, great stuff. I love Vortex. Let's move on to who we got next. Rex, have you killed any animals with that 17 HMR?
Just a bunny or two. just a little pest removal. I haven't gone hunting with it.
Okay. I was hoping you would kill like a coyote or something like that.
I'm not that cool.
All right. Drew.
Yes.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Your rifle has no forward assist or dust cover. Have you found that, like, you wanting one or not yet? Has that been an issue? I mean, a lot of people were like, oh, the Sport doesn't have, well, the new Sports do have a dust cover forward assist. Have you thought, like, oh, I need one of those or I don't need one of those?
That's a very good question. Early on, when I first had this, I noticed mine doesn't look like everybody else's.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, what is the deal with that? And so I've never noticed a need for it. I've gotten this thing really dirty. I've thrown it down in mud. I've done all, like, the durability tests on it and stuff like that. I've never noticed a difference. I also don't know any better, so I might not be the best person to ask that question to. However, I've never had any issues. I've never had any issues with the bolt getting clogged up with anything, with this gun malfunctioning with anything. I've only ever had one round stovepipe, and it had more to do with the round than it did the gun. It's been completely reliable. The only reason at this point that I would want one is if I was in a different kind of environment that had like sand and stuff in it, maybe. But yeah, I've never needed one. It would look a lot cooler if I had one, but and I do have plans to get another rifle one day. I've got my eye on a few that are really, really nice. When I buy another AR, it's going to be a really top tier one. But for this and for what I use it for, I'm happy with it. It's never failed me.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's what I've always wondered about the Sports, because they don't have that dust cover or forward assist. But honestly, the only time I use a forward assist is when I'm doing a press check on my rifle, and I close the dust cover on the first round, and after that, I really don't worry about the dust cover. Like, whatever goes in gets spit right back out. So I haven't worried about it. And you've been running that for about a year now and haven't had any issues. So
I've been running this M&P for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's just this current version of it I've only had for about a year.
And no issues, right?
Not a single one. And yeah, I don't mind it at all.
Now you said you were shopping for a rifle a little bit. Do you have your eye on anything particular that you're?
Yeah. I've got my eye on possibly an SBR, but if not that, then maybe like a SIG, one of the SIG SBRs. like the MPX or MXP or something like that. I can't remember what.
The MPX.
Come on that. I haven't done a lot of research in the SBRs yet, but I would probably drop cash on either a Rebel 14.5
Oh, that's
or
a nice gun.
or a Salient. So.
Okay, yeah, both nice guns. I like the Rebel guns. I think they're made here in PA, actually. Great guns, love them. All right.
Got a quick question here from YouTube from Justin, and he wants to know what we think of Cobalt Kinetics and their line of rifles. So, I don't know, any of you familiar with the Cobalt Kinetics?
I am a little bit.
They're pretty.
Yeah, they are definitely pretty. They're good guns. I haven't actually had a chance to shoot one. So, I mean, I can't give you a in-depth detail analysis of other guns, but they're good-looking guns. I haven't heard anything bad. They use great components. I mean, like really, really high-end components. I think they're more applicable in the 3-gun world. And I'm sure Cobalt is probably, if they're watching this, would be like, no, you could use them anywhere. But just from the aesthetics, I would say they're more of a 3-gun rifle. And that's, of course, opinion. That's the best I could do on that. Like I said, I've never shot one. They're gorgeous guns. They're a little bit pricey, but usually anything that's worthwhile is going to be pricey. So, thank you, Justin.
Drew, did you have something to say about that?
I don't know anything about those.
Oh, who else was it that said something? I thought somebody else said something about them.
I don't know.
All right.
That's a good question, though, Justin. Thank you for asking. That's awesome. If you get a chance, let us know how they run. Hit us up on Instagram. Let us know. I'd be curious to hear. All right, I'm going to ask a question now. Let's go to Ryan. How often do you get to shoot your rifle? You're obviously a big pistol shooter. You shoot a lot of handguns. Is rifle a priority, or is it just kind of like, well, when I shoot it, I shoot it?
Right now, it's when I shoot it. I'm actually going tomorrow, and I'm going to shoot it. But like I said, I don't shoot it accurately, and that pisses me off. So I don't like to go out there and just waste money. So until I can get it to where I feel like I can shoot well with it, it's really just one where I go out and just like run maybe 50 rounds through it and then go to my pistol again. So until I get that optic, it doesn't get a lot of work.
Okay, cool. But it's always something you want to work on, right? It's something that you definitely... Okay. I'm going to ask this question to everybody. Ammo. Where do they source their ammo for their rifle? Is it just local gun shops? Is it like a website that you know you're going to get the best deal on it? Where do you guys go? Rex, why don't we start with you?
I typically I pick it up wherever I can find it. Usually stores. I rarely buy online just because I usually don't buy in enough quantity to justify the shipping.
Right.
But no, normally I just pick it up at gun shops and stuff. I found a lot of deals in Lexington whenever I'm there, so I usually try to pick up stuff when I go there.
Yeah, 17 HMR. I think that's still kind of tough as far as availability goes. I don't think there's a ton of that floating around. Everyone's focusing on 22 and some of the more mainstream calibers. So have you found it hard to find ammo? Is that difficult?
It might just be where I live, but no, like even my little pawn shop down the road has it always. A couple different kinds. Like.
Okay. Drew?
I'm not endorsed by them, although I wish I was. But I run all Freedom Munitions.
Yeah, love it.
It's cheap shipping. You know, they have flat rate at like $7. Sometimes it's free shipping. In terms of price per bullet, price per round, it's really difficult to beat. I've not once in 3 years of shooting their ammo had a single problem in any caliber. We're talking 45, 40, 223, 5.56, 308, 9mm. Not a single problem with they're remanufactured or they're new. So that's all I can really ask for.
I recently just picked up a bunch of 9mm. I got 1,000 rounds from them, and no issues. issues with my gun before I have with their ammunition. Great ammunition, great price. Have you shot any of their reman stuff?
Yes. Yeah, that's actually all I order anymore.
Okay.
Because it's great. It's amazing. And they actually, I don't take advantage of this because I'm way too lazy to pick up my own brass. But you can actually send in your own brass, and based on the the poundage that you send in, they give you a credit towards your account.
Yeah.
So if you're diligent in picking up your brass and sending it in, of course you have to pay for shipping, but you end up making money on it, and the price per round plummets.
Yeah.
Whenever you factor that into the equation.
Yeah. That's awesome. I haven't done that yet either. But I have some money. And they said, yeah, it really dropped the price that they were going to pay for the rounds they wanted. So Noah, I know you have some ideas of where you usually try to source ammo.
Well, are we skipping Ryan?
No, I'm just going to take a little pit stop to you because this is your wheelhouse.
My favorite place to get it online is SG Ammo. I've gotten it from them a bunch of times. And they always have very competitive prices. AIM Surplus is also pretty good, but I really do like SG Ammo, mostly because for a long time they had the absolute best prices on 7.62 by 54R for my.
Oh my God! Just shut up.
But I like to buy local when I can. Unfortunately, it's sometimes it's really tough to find it locally that's at a good price. So, but yep, that's where I usually go.
Okay, cool. Ryan?
Right now, I actually live 10 minutes from a Cabela's, so I go in there probably once a week just to look around, and they have columns, like they have sale columns of 223 and 9mm. So when one of those will go on sale, normally I'll buy maybe like 100, 200 at a time. But actually, I posed that question on my Instagram. Did a lot of people recommended Freedom and Nevada. So I'm actually going to be going to Vault for 9mm and maybe 223. So I will try out those, but I haven't bought online ammo yet.
Okay. Yeah, for me, if I had to source ammo, AIM Surplus has always been great. They're out of Ohio, great pricing. SG is good. You can even snag deals on Palmetto State Armory once in a while. They'll run stuff super cheap. I'm usually shopping for the mainstream calibers though, 5.56, 9mm. Nothing crazy like you, Rex. So, all right, let's move on to the next question.
That's important.
30 carbine. Yeah, so relevant. All right. What's next? Okay, this is to the whole party. What's more important to you, improving your handgun skills or your rifle skills? Let's start with you, Ryan.
Handgun for me. I mean, a handgun is on me all the time, when I'm not at the house. So that's what I'm going to spend my time being most proficient at. But now when it comes to the rifle is a priority for me because I want to get better at it. But if it's between the two, I'm always running handgun just because that's what I have on me. And that's what I feel I owe to everyone else to be the best at. So.
Yeah, amen. Okay, Drew?
Definitely pistol. Mainly because I wear that every single day, and I'm not one of those crazy people who straps this to my back and walks around with it every day in public. But also because I'm honestly bored whenever I shoot rifles. I've got to really put together some kind of interesting course or go run half a mile or sprint half a mile and then pick up a gun or a rifle to be even remotely entertained by shooting it. I just don't. It's too easy. It's honestly too easy with optics the way they are these days. It's awesome, and then you get burned out really quick, or at least I do. So until I take, I've got some plans to take a rifle or a carbine course pretty soon.
Do it.
So until I actually take that and kind of figure out what my next step is in terms of how I need to progress in using this thing, I'm just bored with it. I can do everything that I want to do with it right now, and going out and shooting is not a challenge. It's very difficult to find a way to challenge myself in this thing. So I take that step, I'm definitely sticking with pistols.
that's interesting you say that because Noah and I just got back from Storm Mountain, and I was telling him,
awesome.
Yeah.
I was telling him that was the first time in a long time that shooting rifle, because you can't find that environment everywhere, was really rewarding. Like that was some of the most satisfying rifle shooting I've ever done in my entire life. Just because, I mean, it's 700 yards, but sure, 700 yards, but you're shooting out of a concrete tube, or you're shooting inside of a tractor trailer tire, or an urban sniper hide. Like, you just can't get that everywhere. Like, Storm Mountain, when I was younger, I always heard legends about it, but I thought you had to be like a operator snake eater to go there. And like, they train civilians, and civilians can go, and you can learn military tactics. Like, Noah and I were doing building clearing with handguns and rifles.
Oh, it's awesome.
I've never gotten to do that just because there's not many places that provide that type of atmosphere, the structures to do it. And Storm Mountain was just like, whew, it was challenging. Like, I would agree with you, Drew. If you just go to a one or two-dimensional range that you shoot one way with a rifle and the components you can put on your rifle now, it gets boring very quickly. But if
the most fun I have with this is just picking it up and walking through the woods with it, or going a 2-mile run through the woods just carrying the rifle, not even shooting anything. That's the most fun I've had with it in a while.
Yeah.
How much did that course run you?
Well, there's all sorts. So if you want to do, it's pretty standard pricing. I mean, 2-day courses are going to be $500 to $600, and that could be wrong. You go on their website. I forget what we paid, and the round counts are usually around $1,000 for a 2-day course.
We actually are looking at the possibility of putting together a Wise Men training there, where it'll be a bunch of us who are, through, so that everybody can meet everybody and do stuff. So if you're, following any of us on any of our social medias, we'll be able to do some sort of a thing where we can all get together and train together.
I say we do the team tactics course because that looks fun. Throw some flashbangs around. Get crazy.
And Rex, you can bring your 17-inch MR.
Just start stinging people in the ear.
I don't know. I was thinking about getting a Mosin, bringing it.
You can shoot out to a mile with that sucker, no problem. You can probably still stab them with the bayonet at a mile away. So
I'm inclined to think Noah's sponsored by Mosin.
Yeah. The thing is, Mosin, whoever Mosin is probably dead because it's old.
Dead a long time ago.
Hey, it's the only rifle that you can still go over to the Ukraine, dig up something from the ground, and fire it today.
That says the pitch man.
Yeah, that is true.
So Rex, what about your rifle? What are you looking to I'm sorry,
handgun or rifle?
Bad, but what shooting that versus your handgun?
Well, you think it's boring shooting an AR or something. It's really boring shooting something like that, what I've got. You just sit down, you lay down and, shoot. So, no, handgun. Exactly what those two guys said. I couldn't say it any better.
Right. Yeah, handgun. Handgun is definitely, and this is a quote, if someone said, like, if you can be proficient with a handgun, you can be proficient with a rifle. Now, take that with a grain of salt. That's internet lingo quote, and what he's saying is shooting a handgun is definitely more difficult than shooting a rifle. I mean, there's way less contact points on your body, which decreases stability. You're essentially using iron sights. That's what it is. Now, with RMRs and optics going on handguns these days, that's kind of changing the game a little bit. But it's still a very simple setup for a handgun. So to be proficient with a handgun, definitely more difficult, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. All right, let's move on.
All right, I got a question here coming from YouTube, and it's from our good friend Lunar Concepts.
Oh!
Chris over at Lunar Concepts says, what do you consider must-have accessories on a go-to rifle, and where do you see a breaking point in price versus performance on an AR-based rifle? In other words, is there really a reason to spend $2,000 on an AR platform rifle?
Excellent question.
That's a great question.
For all of you out there, go check out Lunar Concepts if you get a chance. He makes excellent nylon gear, small batch, all made in USA. Quite a craftsman. So check him out if you get an opportunity. But to answer your question, Chris, I'd like to take this one. The things that the things that I want on my go-to rifle that I have to have are a light and a sling. If I don't have a light and a sling, it's not done yet. I could even go without the optic if I have irons, provided that irons just come on the gun. Obviously, you need a sighting system, but in priority, light, sling, that's what I need on my go-to rifle. And 10, 15 years ago, the price of ARs, the price difference between high-end and low-end, there might have been a drastic difference in what you got if you paid something inexpensive or you paid for something really expensive. But now that everyone is getting into the AR game, the price point is being driven down, 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 down. Just like the M&P Sport, you're getting a lot of rifle for the money. Does it have all the bells and whistles right out of the box? Definitely not. But everybody and their brother is making an AR rail, a stock, a grip. So it's a competitive market right now. It's probably the best time ever for someone, if they wanted to buy an AR, to get in right now. You can source any part, readily available, and you can get rock bottom prices. That's just my opinion. No, I don't know if you want to answer that at all.
Well, let's throw it out to the other guys here real quick. Drew, did you have something? Ryan?
I would agree. I would totally agree with that. And I've never been the owner of a top tier AR, so I may not be the best judge of this, but I would say unless you're going to purchase your dream gun, you might as well go as cheap as possible while keeping the quality. For me, if I'm going to buy another AR, it's going to be, like I said, the best of the best that I can find. If I actually have 3 ARs. This is not the other. Well, 3. I have access to 3. That being said, they all shoot great, and they're all under $650. Yeah. So, as long as
I think it's just the environment. It's the environment we live in right now.
If you're on the fence about getting one, go ahead and get a cheap one and just look at it as an investment, because it's probably not going to depreciate in value too much. There's always going to be a market for it, even if it's your buddy next door. You might as well get one while the prices are low.
Yep, absolutely.
And what I was going to say too is it's a hell of a lot easier to learn on a cheaper one, at least from my point of view, to learn on a cheaper one, make the mistakes with a cheaper one, learn your proficiencies with the cheaper one, beat the hell out of a cheaper one, and then go up to something where it's, fancy price and all that stuff. Because a lot of times buying any gun, you're going to learn a lot once you buy it, and you may not end up wanting the one that you bought in the first place. So it's a lot better to make those mistakes at a lower price point, even though they do hold their value, but at least you're making them at a cheaper price point then.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. I mean, if you, like I said, with the sport, if you just want to get into it and kind of see, like, oh, maybe this is for me, maybe it's not. You can afford a lower price point and not sacrifice quality. I mean, that's just the environment of the gun market right now. It's really great, and hopefully it'll last forever. It won't, but as of right now, like, strike while the iron's hot. Drew, do you have anything to add to that?
I do have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
Unless you look and can shoot like an operator or someone who's just a hair away from it, don't be that guy that shows up to the range with an operator's weapon. Okay? Just buy a cheap AR. That way everyone knows you're new to them or you're not an operator. You don't want to be that guy that everyone's like, oh, great, here comes such and such with the
who dialed 0 for the operator.
$2,500 rifle that he can't shoot. So, yeah.
I've seen those dudes too, like just covered in Gucci kit, like multicam just threw up all over them, and they don't even know which end of the gun to hold.
Right.
I love those guys.
Just because I showed up that one time,
I was waiting for it.
Rex, what are your thoughts on this? Especially being the guy who doesn't have an AR right now, and possibly, in listening to what you were saying, like there's some consideration that it might be on the list down the road here, like what are your thoughts of like what must be there and your price point and those kinds of things?
Well, like, it's on my list of things to get, but I mean, it seems like all you guys are AR guys. I'm not necessarily sold on the AR platform. I think the AK has viable options, especially at price point. Like, you can get an AA for dirty cheap. There you go.
There you go, Drew.
Get you a Yugo or something like.
This was dirt cheap.
Yeah, I mean they're not exactly the most accurate things, but from my point of use for that kind of rifle, I'm thinking it's to defend against a foreign invader or against our own government, and at that point, I don't have the training to really do a whole lot, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to spend a ton of money on it, I'd rather spend all that money if I'm going to on training. So I'd probably go with you guys and get like just a cheap M&P Sport and invest in training rather than investing in a really expensive rifle. I mean, if money was no option, I'd get an Ohio Ordnance H car. You ever seen those? I mean, those are like a $4,000 gun, but man, it's like a shortened Browning bar.
Yeah, they're hardcore, man.
I'd shoot one of those all day.
A couple of those.
My bank account would be super empty.
Yeah, they're on the same price as a freaking small car. Like,
Yeah.
And then they're shooting 30-06, which is like crazy high.
Yeah, they're throwing down some hate. Yeah, they're awesome guns. They're well built too. That's a great question, Mr. Moon. Thank you for that question. We appreciate it. Go check out Lunar Concepts on Instagram. Like I said, he makes top-notch kit. Really good stuff. And he's a good friend of the Wise Men, so check him out.
Hey, just real quick, I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents on that. I started out with a DPMS, and then went to Daniel Defense. So
yeah, that's right.
From like low end, like to cream of the crop. Now, I will say, when I went to do my build, I built using as much Daniel Defense components as I could for my pistol, and it's one of those things where Daniel Defense is not the most expensive out there, but it's probably like if somebody asks me, my opinion on getting an AR, I can't recommend Daniel Defense enough. They make a rifle that is going to be about as close to a rifle that you won't ever break and won't wear out as you can get, and they're not stupid priced.
Right.
And there is a difference in the fit and finish of a quality made rifle versus like a DPMS or a Bushcraft. Although Bushcraft has actually made some real improvements in some of their stuff, but
Bushmaster.
Aren't the Daniel Defenses like crazy light too?
Some of them you can get real lightweight ones. Yeah, they're really light. The pencil barrel ones with their slimline rail, you can get some really light rifles. Not to mention, for stock barrels coming out of Daniel Defense, some of the groups that I have put together with a Daniel Defense barrel have been quite impressive. They are well-built guns, really well-built guns for the money, and they're pretty new.
What I'm saying is that I basically did exactly what we were just talking about. I bought a less expensive gun to start with. I think I paid $500 when I got that DPMS. It was an A2 style. It had a carry handle on it. It was,
man.
Are you guys surprised? Are you guys really surprised?
And it had probably just come out.
Did Carl Stoner make that one?
Vietnam was just finishing up, and I got my AR-15.
He's wondering where the bolt action is.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I definitely can say that is a good way to do it. And the great thing is, kind of what Drew said, I actually sold my DPMS when I started to do my pistol build to buy parts for the pistol build. So it was an investment. Like, it got me to where I wanted to be.
Very cool. No, if you get any more questions, feel free to jump in. I'm going to start with another question from the party. What kind of defensive ammo do you use in your rifle, if any? So, Rex, go ahead, start us off.
I don't really have any defensive ammo. I wouldn't use it in a defensive situation unless something really weird happens. So I have hollow points for it, but I mean, again, that's for like rabbits and coyotes
And commies.
and commies.
All right, Drew, go ahead.
I don't use any. I don't know hardly anything about that. I'm probably not gonna. No. And we can all theorize on when you would and wouldn't use it. But out here where I live, if I'm using it on someone, it's not going to be in a crowd. So I'm not really too worried about what it's going to go through. So I don't use anything but just regular ammo. I do have some steel tip, but I don't really know too much about the self-defense rounds with an AR or the 223.
Okay, Ryan?
None. I don't use it.
No one uses any self-defense ammo for their rifle. That's interesting.
I'm open to suggestions.
Okay,
I wouldn't use my rifle for self-defense.
Let's talk about it. Noah, did you want to say what you use or no or?
Sure. I mean, I have just either soft points or hollow points for the same reason again that that I have it for my handgun. And especially after, my whole viewpoint changed on the AR after I was in a class where we looked at the ballistics of handguns versus rifles versus shotguns, and everybody talks about how and this is the way I thought that I was going to use a handgun because that was the best thing for me to use inside my house. And after seeing the ballistic tests and watching a 9mm go through a wall, through two pieces of wallboard, and then through 9-gallon jugs of water and not stop.
They just keep going.
And then watching somebody shoot an AR and seeing it go through 2 walls of drywall, explode the first gallon of water. I mean, just explode it. Rip to shreds the second gallon, and the bullet is stopped in the 3rd gallon of water. It totally changed my viewpoint on what I want to shoot inside my house, but with my kids around and stuff like that.
Is that with defense ammo or with Full Metal Jacket?
Full Metal Jacket is going to go through anything, but that was with defensive ammo coming out of a 9mm. So 9mm hollow point. I believe the last time I watched it, they were using Hornady critical defense rounds, and the bullet did stop, and that bullet does stop coming through. And again, water is a great displacement tool when you're testing ballistics if you don't have gelatin and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, if Ben and I ever get a chance to reset that up and shoot that demonstration again, I'd like to do it.
It's a great demo.
Because it is.
That'd be awesome.
It changes. It blows your mind like you don't believe it. And the only thing I can say is that after seeing that was when I started putting a rifle next to my bed. Like my handguns are still there, and if I think I'm going outside, to be honest with you, like one night my daughter came and woke us up. She was asleep. She had friends over, and she was sure that somebody was knocking on the windows on the porch. And because I went outside, I didn't grab my rifle. I did grab my handgun, mostly because I didn't want to be the guy that was walking around town with his rifle out back. But the reality is the rifle is if I really thought it was a bad situation, the rifle is what I would go to every single time after seeing that, because it's safer. And just like we were talking about with being bored with a rifle, I'm going to have better hits. I'm going to be safer with it. I have more control of it. And so for that, I actually have magazines loaded up that are right there that you have both hollow points or soft points. So that's just my viewpoint on that.
Yeah, handgun ballistics in general suck. Handgun ballistics are terrible. I mean, nowadays with modern medicine and everything like that, they don't die from handgun shots very easily. I mean, you have to bleed out over a long period of time. But rifle rounds, because it is dumping so much energy into a target, will turn your insides into jelly like that and puts people down. Plus, you get the capacity. You're getting 30 rounds. Although no one ever goes to 30 rounds. You'd be pretty famous if you went through a whole mag in a home invasion.
Yeah, for the wrong reason.
Invasion.
Yeah. You're getting the capacity, you're getting that velocity, which also translates into putting your target down, and once it hits hard target, it will slow down, stop, dissipate, dump all that energy, so it doesn't continue to keep on going. I mean, everyone, still is saying like, oh, get yourself a shotgun, get yourself a room broom, and defend your castle. But it's like
Just 2 shots.
buckshot travels for days, and
It's like shooting It's like shooting 9.9mm all at once, or
yeah, and it doesn't open up. It doesn't open up.
Right.
I mean, if you measure your hallway, it's probably 7 yards, which isn't long at all. That is like the longest American hallway, and your grouping isn't going to open up. So that whole point, don't have to look. I'll just clear the room with 2 shots of double lock buck. Like,
And
you'll
also make sure you clear your pets and your children with that.
Yeah.
Well.
Your neighbors will be dead. Your neighbor's dog will be dead. Everyone will be dead. But if you had a rifle, 2 rounds with a good sight on it and a light, you're going to handle business pretty quickly. Just my thoughts, but every time I talk against the shotgun, somebody comes out of nowhere and says something. But okay, let's move on.
Well, wait. Did any of you guys have anything to add or questions or anything from that?
I just think that's interesting because that's not what I would. I know the ballistics when it comes to the rifle and the pistol, but I would not assume the penetration style with defensive. I would not assume that a 9mm would go like that. That is something that's interesting.
Yeah,
to me.
It's actually
crazy.
mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because pistol ballistics just are terrible. That's all there is. And we carry them because they're concealable and they're easy to get to when you're walking around in public. The fact of the matter is, they're just not that great. But beggars can't be choosers, so we carry them. As far as defensive ammo, I use hollow points. I use some of that PPU, that Privy Partisan. You can get off Aim Surplus, 69 grain hollow points. They're great. I like soft points too. Soft points are a little bit better if you have to shoot through something to get to somebody else. But get yourself a good hollow point with a high grain weight. The Gold Dot, any defensive ammo, handgun or rifle, excellent. All right, let's.
Do we have some questions from these guys for us?
Oh yeah, right. Yes. Let's get to that. Who should we start with? Drew. Let's start with Drew.
I have 3 questions, so I'm going to narrow it down to 1. Prepared.
Save them all.
I prepared just because I figured, Rex and Ryan would not come prepared. So,
I resent that.
I resemble that remark.
Oh my God. Wait, show that again, Rex.
I got notes, son.
I got notes.
Nice. So here's my first question. While I'm trying to narrow it down, what is your earliest memory with a rifle?
Oh, go ahead. Well, Noah's was from the Revolutionary War when muskets were all the rage. Do you want to go, Noah? Do you want to start?
Well, I mean, if I start, it'll be going back so long that,
Oh God.
Honestly, my earliest memories are with a BB gun. And my best friend at the time, Rob Richard, his older brother Tom, bought a Daisy BB gun that was one of those ones where the more you pumped it, the more pressure you could get. And I loved that thing. We any chance that we could get that thing away from his older brother and get out and shoot it, we would. He was actually the first guy I hunted with. Growing up in upstate New York, I actually bought that BB gun off his older brother. I don't know. I must have been when I bought that. I was probably 10, maybe, and I shot that thing until the piston in it actually gave out. It wouldn't hold pressure anymore. So, and then my grandfather gave me a 22, and I still actually have that 22. It's a bolt action. It's like a Montgomery Ward Ranger or something like that. So back when you could still buy them from like Montgomery Ward's and Sears. So so I have a lot of good memories from that rifle. So
Okay. Now, is it my fondest memory or my earliest memory or both?
It can be either one. You pick.
Okay. Okay. So
his fondest memory is, remember that time last week when you ran that course?
I shot through a cop car. That was awesome. No, my fondest / earliest memory, like the first time I shot an AR-15, I was in college, and my buddy who lived down the hall was building an AR. He was a total gun nut. Like, he loved everything. He got all the parts for that AR shipped through the college mail room, and they didn't know it. And he built the AR in his college dorm room, and I was thinking, how did this man do this? This is awesome. And we went to shoot it, and I remember it was an old school M16 style, 20-inch barrel, the front sight, fixed front sight, fixed rear sight, and I shot it, and I was like, oh boy, I love this. Like, this is awesome. This is so fun. And I was thinking, I need to own one of these things as soon as possible. Like, and I just started researching like crazy to get myself, and I had shot in guns plenty of times before that. Like, guns were not a new thing to me, but that was the first one where it was like a home and country gun, like an M16. Like, I was like hooked. Like, this has to be in my house today. And the fact that he could source all these parts online and have them, discreetly shipped through the college mailroom, and they didn't know the wiser, and he built this in his dorm room, I was just kind of like, this is so badass. Like, I need to be a part of this. I'm going to be a gun runner. And that's when it started. I was flying planes at the time. I went to school to be a pilot, and I was kind of always into that sort of stuff, like, kind of dangerous things. And then the M16, that one gun, was just like, I need it. I'm hooked. It's in my blood. So that's a good question. That was my earliest.
That's cool. That's
Nice.
cool.
Very cool.
Hey, real quick before we jump into other questions for us, we had one again from YouTube, and then Zalask wanted to know what our go-to bullpup rifle would be. If we had to pick.
Sweet baby.
So one of my questions.
All right,
she got you.
go ahead. What would it be, Rex?
Oh man, I haven't shot any, so I can't say from experience, but I really like the looks of the Tavor, and I think the Steyr AUG is like a really slick design. So
It is slick.
I'd probably go with the update that just came out of SHOT Show, the Tavor though.
X95, yeah, that is definitely an upgrade. Handled those quite a bit. I've shot the Tavor. X95 is definitely an upgrade. They did a lot of good things, and they're made right here in PA. Drew, what do you think? What's your bullpup of choice?
I know virtually nothing about bullpups outside of video games, so I'll just go with either an AUG or a Tavor. I know what a Tavor is. I see them all the time online, but yeah, probably an AUG.
Okay, yeah. The AUGs are really well built. They're just so proprietary. If anything breaks on them, you're going to go back to Steyr and have to find parts. Even the mags, the European mags, are tough to find. Now, they do make a version where you can use regular mags, but they're tough to find as well. So, Brian, what do you think?
Ever since Die Hard 1, I was pretty infatuated with the Steyr AUG when putting it together.
Yeah.
But I think I would have to go with a FAMAS. I've always liked the look. They're pretty slick, but I've actually never shot a bullpup, but I've always had an eye for that one.
That's
personally.
a good one. That's a good one, actually. I like those. Noah?
I would go with either the Tavor, probably the Tavor would be anything that Israelis make is badass. So,
Yeah.
but there used to be another company here in Pennsylvania called that made the MSAR, and I've actually fired that. It was actually a really cool bullpup. I really did like that, but unfortunately they don't make it anymore. But if I could get my hands on one, again, it came out of Pennsylvania, I'd probably, I'd I wouldn't turn one down. But if it was a go-to battle rifle type scenario, Tavor would be my go-to choice.
Yeah, the X95, awesome gun. The P90 kind of gets a bad rap sometimes. I know Secret Service uses all P90s, but that 5.7 round, super fast, great for CQB. No recoil on them, very flat shooting. Ammo's a little bit expensive, but it's a great bullpup. I like them a lot.
Yeah, I like the design.
If I could get that in the version that non-civilians are allowed to have, that would probably be my choice. But since
Yeah, that's a mean little package
we're lowly
right there.
civilians, we can't have it. So
Right. Right. That's a good question. Who was that? Who asked that question?
Zalesk 727.
Thank you. Good question. Excellent question.
All right. Who else had a question for us then?
Yeah. Next. Rex?
Kane or me?
Rex.
All right, I'll go. All right. What's your point of use on a pistol caliber carbine?
Oh, good question. Good question. I love it. Rex, you're my boy. I love it. Noah, you want to start?
The only one that I have is that would be considered that actually is an M1 carbine, and I absolutely love it. That is a killing machine. If for the longest time before I had an AR, that would have been my go-to rifle, and I think that it gets a bad rap. I mean, it's like basically a 357 Magnum round coming out of a full-length barrel. So I mean, it's a pack and some wallop when it hits you. And if you've done any of the, watched any of the history from New York City, like the cops in New York City, like back
They
in
chop them down.
oh man, they were just messing people up with those. So, as far as the pistol caliber carbines, like modern, man, Caltech makes some pretty awesome stuff, and the sub 2K guns, if you can get your hands on them and you spend a little time making some improvements to them, they are, in my opinion, a really, really good gun. And especially if you carry a Glock and you get the Glock
Mags, yeah.
magazines for them, I could see that as like a truck gun or a backpack gun. I wouldn't, again, because of the ballistics on a pistol caliber, it wouldn't be my go-to. But I wouldn't say that they're lousy or crappy by any means. I just don't think that, especially if you're going to be using it indoors. If you're thinking about using one for inside your home, you're actually going worse down the rabbit hole because you're increasing the velocity now of the pistol caliber. So, that pistol caliber, I always, again, compare it to like a train. If you think about a train moving at 5 miles an hour and it hits your house, what's going to happen? Your house is going to be destroyed because of the mass. But if a car hits your front porch at 70 miles an hour, your living room and your porch is going to explode, but that car is going to be stuck there. And that's like what a pistol caliber versus a rifle caliber. You've got all that energy, that big, it doesn't seem big, but a 9mm is still a lot bigger than a 223, and it's coming through at a much slower speed, and it just keeps going. It just pushes right through. And then that rifle bullet comes in, and it's just screaming. I mean, that 17 HMR is, or a 223, like they're coming in, and it's screaming, and it just boom, just drops all that energy right into that initial hit. So I like them, but they wouldn't be my go-to choice in most scenarios.
I don't subscribe to them. I don't particularly like them. I think they're more of a novelty, because of the things that are available now. Like you can get a 300 blackout in a 7.5-inch barrel, the same length as a 9mm carbine, and just get way more gun for the money. Like the blackout is nasty. Same with the 5.56. Like, they make some really cool 9mm lowers now that take lock mags for ARs, and they're just more of a novelty in my opinion, because you can get the same size package with bigger calibers now and minimalize recoil, get a suppressor for it if you want to, knock off the sound. Like you can get a subsonic blackout and it's going to be quieter than your 9mm that's 115 grains screaming through your house. So if you're worried about hearing protection, I mean, there's no, in my opinion, there's no wins with the pistol caliber carbines. I think they're fun. I think they're good for kids to learn on, and maybe new shooters to learn on. But other than that, as far as like a fighting situation, I'm just going to stick with 5.56 and blackout until then. Now that doesn't mean it could change over time. If there's one thing this industry does, it's reinvent itself every 2 seconds, constantly. So maybe they'll come back around. Same with subguns. Like, I've shot plenty of full auto subguns. Cops are getting away from them. Military's getting away from them. They're going to rifles because they're the same length, and you're getting way more out of them. I have to see a need for the gun. It has to fill a role for me to want to buy it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. That's a good question. I like that question. Ryan, do you have a question?
Yeah. So my question is it can go for rifles or for pistols, but
okay.
So to contextualize my comment, when I got my CPL and got into guns, I feel like I made mistakes based off of the opinions that I had read ahead of time.
Sure.
So, I was 6'3", 160 pounds, super skinny. I bought it too big of a gun that I couldn't conceal well. So my question to you guys is, what are some early mistakes you made that you learned from that would change your pistol and or rifle, that maybe other people won't have to make, because you did?
Yeah. Do you want me to start, Noah, or do you want to?
No, go ahead.
For me, in the beginning, being a young college kid, I cut corners on price. I know we were talking about that stuff earlier, where you try to get the most gun for your money. You buy something too cheap, or you read something online like, this is good enough, and then it breaks or busts up, and you lose money that way, whether it's a new rail you stick on or a really cheap light. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've gone through bad lights on guns just because you bang them up, you beat them up, and they just don't work. There's just some things you can't really compromise on. And that's what I would say early on. I just tried to cut corners instead of just being patient, saving my pennies, and buying right the first time. It was a different environment back then, 10 years ago, than it is right now. And I spent money where I probably shouldn't have. That's my biggest concern. Now, it's harder to do that with this environment, but I'm sure you can still do it if you find some stuff that's really, really cheap, and you find out that it's going to break in 2 days after you used it. So, no?
I think for me, if you would ask Ben, my biggest mistake is probably overanalyzing on everything. I almost don't buy anything because I get sort of caught in the, oh man, is this the right one? And then I'm checking the reviews, and then I'm checking this YouTube, and then I'm checking that YouTube, and and it often takes me quite a while to actually pull that trigger on getting something. So
one would say a lifetime. Take you a lifetime.
As far as mistakes, with handguns, I made choices actually. I got a Ruger SR9. That was my first handgun. I actually really loved that gun, and Ben will cringe at that. I shot it really well. I thought it was a nice size gun. I never had any issues with it. It was a phenomenal gun to teach people to shoot handguns on. I ended up selling that again for parts for my pistol build, and then the second gun I got was a Glock. The only difference that I would have made is I probably would not have bought a 40 caliber. I would have started in 9mm with my Glock. My SR9 was a 9mm, but I bought the Glock 40. I knew that I wanted to stay with the Glock, and I shouldn't have. So that was probably my biggest mistake. I don't dislike the 40 caliber, but everyone I know shoots 9. So I was always the odd guy. I can't steal ammo from my buddies. I can't borrow their magazines.
You shoot the 9 way better.
So I do. I shoot the 9 way better. So switching over was a good choice for me. So and now I just have all this freaking 40 caliber ammunition laying around my house and in my car and all over the place.
Cool. What should we do? Do you have a question, Noah, or should I ask one?
No, I'm all set.
Okay.
If those guys have any more questions, I need to probably wrap it up here shortly. So.
Yeah, Drew, give me one more if you have one more.
Okay. What is your next rifle purchase? So it can either be an accessory or even a whole new build. What's your next purchase?
Noah.
I actually am building a AR-10. I have a 308 build going. I have the lower, I have the upper, I have the rail, the charging handle, and that's where I'm stuck at right now. So it's but that's going to be it's going to be pretty awesome. So I'm actually going to do a Vortex Strike Eagle Optic on it. I'm in the process of trying to decide what I'm going to do for a barrel and stuff right now. So we're actually going to be putting together a whole video series on that build. So, but that's my next one.
Yeah. My next one is actually also in 308. I'm going to be doing a Remington 700 in 308, and I'm dropping it in the new Magpul Hunter chassis. And I'm going to have a fixed 10 power on top of it from SWFA. They're mil-spec scopes. They make really good optics, but it's a fixed 10 with a mil-dot reticle. I just really like that Magpul chassis, and people are getting really good accuracy out of it. I used to have a Remington 700 that was totally pimped out, and I sold it. So ever since then, I gotta get back. I need a heavier caliber for distance, especially if I've always wanted to take a precision rifle class. That's one part of the craft I've never really delved into a ton. I've shot ARs at distance like 700 yards this past week, but I haven't shot 308s that long before. I shot a 308 at 1,000 yards one time, and it was really, really fun. It was very addicting. So that's my next build. So it's going to fill a good role too.
We're also throwing around a 300 blackout in there somewhere.
Yeah,
possibly.
just an upper though, that we can swap in and out.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions? We can start wrapping up here.
I got one for everybody.
Okay, Rex, hit us.
Dream rifle. Money is no object. What is it?
Oh, I know mine.
I want to hear from everybody.
Drew?
If you know yours, you go first.
Okay, my dream rifle would be, if money's no object to add to my collection, I'd want either a full core defense 300 Win Mag or a Nemo Arms 300 Win Mag AR. They're just, I've played around with them a ton. They recoil just like a 5.56, but they're a 300 Win Mag. They're about $5,000, but they are just so badass, and they just pack such a huge punch. You can shoot so far with them. That'd be my choice. I'd take it over a 50 cal Barrett. I'd take it over any of the other big bore guns. 300 Win Mag has always been a real cool caliber. Yeah, Drew. Yeah, bring that up, Drew. Let's see it.
Yeah, so this is my 300 Win Mag. Actually, this is the stock of it. Yeah, this is a Savage Arms 111 300 Win Mag. It's pretty much stock. And I had no idea how powerful this thing was until I shot it. I got it as a gift, and it is amazing and very destructive. And yeah, it's way too much gun for a deer. I found that out.
Yeah, I bet.
You got that for a gift? I need a friend.
Yeah. Well, I'm an only child, so until I die, my parents take care of me.
Noah, what would it be? Reaper.
Honestly, a Reaper is up there. I mean, if money was no object and it's a dream gun, a Dillon minigun is really.
Awesome.
But I have always wanted a Reaper, an LWRC Reaper. They're pretty awesome guns.
They're very well built.
So, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really look at real high-end guns and go, oh man, just really want one. I mean, the Nemos are really cool. I've had a chance to fondle those a couple of times and wouldn't turn one down. So, but I just think the Reapers are really cool.
The Reapers are cool. Yeah. Ryan.
I'm kind of old school when it comes to dream gun. I mean, I've always had an infatuation with the M14, so like an M21 style or a SOCOM with a 203 launcher under it. I mean, that's the stuff that makes me tick. I love that big cal. I love the big gun. I love the look. And if you can launch grenades off it too, that'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. That'd be a plus. Rex, you want to answer your own question?
I already said it. That high ordnance H car.
Okay.
You got a guest, Drew's.
I know, man. Oh, get off.
What was that, Drew? What's your dream gun, Drew?
Yeah, for real. The little kid video gamer in me wants to say a Barrett 50 cal or like a Honey Badger, but if I had to choose one, I would go with a saw.
Oh yeah.
I go with a saw.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's a shame we can only have one pick because there's so many out there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody said a scar.
It was kind of. For the whole UGG boot comparison, I'd be.
Yeah, I'm not into pretty guns. I don't know why.
Well, it's like it seems like that's everybody's favorite gun who plays Call of Duty because they know it.
The Scar's a good gun. It really is. I mean, I'd get the Scar heavy if I had to choose, but just doesn't really do anything for me as far as my collection goes. So.
The Reaper, and it's just a much cooler name. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and the way it's spelled, it's a good acronym. Okay. Anybody got anything else? No? We good? All right. Let's just go down through the line. If people want to ask questions or find you guys on Instagram or social media, where can they do that? Rex, where can they find you at?
At Kentucky Carry, right on my screen.
Okay. Yep. Right there. Drew?
Keep it simple. Drew Hopkins on Instagram.
Cool. Ryan?
Same with me. Embrace the recoil.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, by all means, hit these guys up. Hit us up, Wise Men Company on Instagram and Facebook. Guys, I really appreciate you guys jumping on this roundtable. We're going to keep doing this as long as people like it. So thank you, guys. If you guys like this video, hit that like button, share it, and go check these guys out. For everyone that asked questions tonight, thank you for asking questions. We appreciate the feedback and interaction, and we'll see you all in the next video.
See ya.